For centuries, their culture has been dominated by all things equine. The galloping gauchos rule the grasslands. And champion racehorse Invasor is deemed a national treasure.
Britain might have Royal Ascot, the States the Kentucky Derby, but in terms of passion for the horse, there is nowhere quite like Uruguay. This month on Winning Post, we're experiencing the Ramirez Prize, the highlight of their racing calendar.
Every year since 1889, on the 6th of January or Three Kings Day, Montevideo's Moronius racetrack has hosted Ramirez Day. The spectacular Art Deco stadium is packed to capacity and boasts a marathon race card that features the Gran Premio Jose Pedro Ramirez. Not only are fans here to witness some of the best South American racing talent, but also to celebrate the country's age-old relationship with the horse. Riding in Uruguay has always been an integral part of life, and 2 hours from the capital near Punta de Este, I've come to witness this. As the afternoon sun beats down, a pounding of hooves announces the arrivals of the gauchos, hurtling across the countryside with their brood in tow.
One of the most famous things about this region is this, the gauchos rounding up their herds. Much like the cowboys of the Wild West, these guys have obtained legendary status. Now, their riding style and horses might be a far cry from what we see in a few days' time at the Ramirez Prize, but it is here in the countryside where the nation's passion for horses and horse racing began.
Their history dates back as far as the 1700s, and whilst they're traditionally known for handling cattle, here at Cabaña Los Federales they breed criollos, who are native to Uruguay. These horses are tough, sure-footed, and for centuries they've been used in this region of South America.
Es el caballo también con el que el gaucho peleó en sus guerras, y es el caballo más resistente y más rústico para trabajar en el campo. Y hace unos 20 años la raza cambió para bien y se ha modernizado más el caballo. Ya hoy es un caballo más estilizado, más lindo, más moderno.
How much is riding part of life in Uruguay?
Es un estilo de vida porque es una vestimenta, es una cultura, es un entorno de amistades que todo es alrededor del campo. Antes era la herramienta de trabajo el 100% ser el gaucho y con un caballo. Hoy ya no es tan así. Hoy ya lo suplementa una moto para trabajar en el campo, lo suplementa unos perros.
To ensure the survival of the criollos and to celebrate gaucho traditions, the art of herding has become a sport, and regular competitions around the country showcase the horses' skills. With influences from the Western-style discipline of reining and European dressage, they have developed their own way of riding. Specific moves highlight the speed, agility and responsiveness of the criollo. One of them is the paleteada, where two riders approach a cow from both sides and see how far they can go, controlling it between them. The gauchos are born in the saddle and they have a certain commanding presence as they patrol the ranch. Respect for their ancestry means that they still dress in bandanas, bombachas and sombreros, which they're so well known for. They seem to control their horses effortlessly. It can't be that hard, can it?
Well, I've seen the experts do it, now it's my chance to have a go. I've got my boina, so I might look the part, but I've never ridden gaucho style before, never ridden a criollo before. So this is Havana. How do I hold the reins then? What's different about riding gaucho?
La manera distinta es que se agarra con la mano izquierda y se pone el dedo índice entre las dos riendas. Y pasa las dos riendas para un lado al momento de guiarlo hacia la izquierda o hacia la derecha, si la mano va hacia la izquierda, la pierna derecha empuja el caballo, así lo ayuda a ir para aquel lado, y lo mismo para este lado.
Okay, so like this,
Ahí
yeah,
es.
and then like that. So show me how it's done.
Es apenas la mano y la pierna, así de golpe.
You make it look so easy. I'm sure it's not going to be that easy. Right, come on, Ivana. So it's outside leg. Yeah. So responsive.
While I might not have quite mastered the art of looking as laid back in the saddle as the gauchos do, it was a great experience to see how reactive these criollos are. As the sun sets on my day at the ranch, my time spent here leaves me in no doubt as to why the nation has such a deep-rooted love of the horse. In keeping with tradition, we gather beside the campfire where I'm invited to join them for mate, a dry leaf infusion with caffeine drank in Uruguay and traditionally shared amongst friends.
Well, this is the life, riding all day and then nights spent here in front of the fire. I bet you guys do this all the time. Is this a real gaucho tradition?
Es una tradición del gaucho por una cuestión de necesidad. En las tropas, cuando se llevaba el ganado hacia Montevideo, que era ahí donde se embarcaba para salir la exportación, de todo el Uruguay salían los gauchos con las tropas de ganado, la tropa de hacienda, para el sur, y cada parada del mediodía y cada parada de la noche era fuego de por medio. Su descanso es el mate, y el mate también se comparte en las ruedas de amigos, y es una manera y un modo de compartir conversaciones. A una cuadra aproximada hay un gran fogón prendido con los tres fierros metidos.
Folk songs speaking about their love of the horse bring the day to an end. It's been an insight into a way of life that I could definitely get used to.
It's been quite a day. After the break, they will be at one of Uruguay's more modern thoroughbred studs, where we'll be meeting the most beloved racehorse this nation has produced.
Uruguay might be South America's second smallest nation, but its mild climate and nutritious soils make its extensive grasslands favourable for not only gauchos and cattle rearing, but also for the thoroughbred industry. Bloodstock breeding has been in existence for more than 130 years, but Harris, Cuatro Piedras near Montevideo is one of the country's most modern studs. Established in 2000, it is home to some of South America's top breeding mares, but taking pride of place is a horse so celebrated he's a national treasure.
Well, here he is, Invasor, who is undoubtedly the most famous Uruguayan racehorse there's been. After winning the Triple Crown here, he was sold to America, where he won numerous Grade 1s, including the Breeders' Cup Classic. He was America's Horse of the Year in 2006, and the following season he went on to become a global superstar when he won the Dubai World Cup. He retired to become a stallion in Kentucky, but in 2015 he made a much celebrated move back here to his adopted home country.
El caballo fue recibido a pocos días de su llegada en el hipódromo de Maroñas. Tuvo la oportunidad de ser aplaudido por la gente, por la gente que concurrió a las carreras. Ese día había mucha gente que lloraba. Hay testimonios de gente de la emoción de volver a verlo acá. Acá el caballo recibe visitas permanentes, incluso recibimos solicitudes de quinceañeras, de novias que quieren sacarse las fotos previas a la fiesta de 15 o al matrimonio cerca de Invasor. Como criadores pusimos foco desde hace muchos años en poder contar con Invasor como reproductor en el Aras Cuatro Piedras. En un acto de generosidad del jeque propietario de Shadwell se logró las condiciones económicas necesarias para poder contar con Invasor acá y cumplir un sueño y culminar un camino que nos llevó 4 o 5 años de estrategia y de gestiones.
Out of 11 race starts, Invasor won an astonishing 10 of them. His handler for the last year is 18-year-old Valentin, who knows him better than anyone.
Es tranquilo, se va adaptando a mí, con el tiempo se ha adaptado bien. A veces se pone, cuando está mucho tiempo encerrado y sale, a veces se pone un poco más nervioso, pero si no es tranquilo, manso. Me parece que sabe porque siempre está muy poniéndose como muy bien, nunca es un caballo tímido, siempre se está mostrando, nunca se pone sumiso por nada. Todos los sábados viene bastante familias así a verlo, siempre viene prensas a sacarle fotos, fotógrafos, mucho también. La verdad que es un orgullo poder cuidarlo, nunca pensé yo que podía estar cuidando a Invasor y la verdad que ahora estoy muy contento.
Importing sires like Invasor from the US and others from Europe has improved local bloodstock and strengthened the industry.
Invasor, en los 2 años que estuvo acá, sirve alrededor de 50 yeguas, por lo que nacieron en el año 2016 40 crías y van a nacer seguramente en el año 2017 40 crías. El Uruguay tiene unos nacimientos, toda la cría del caballo de carrera en Uruguay, que oscila a los 2000 nacimientos. Cerca de la mitad de esos nacimientos nacen en aras profesionales o semiprofesionales. La otra mitad nacen en emprendimientos apasionados o de gente de que es tipo hobby.
To help owners decide which stallion they might want to send their mare to, each stud produces a catalogue. There's a real art to photographing a stallion, and one Uruguayan lady has made a name for herself doing this. To find out more about her job, which sees her travel the globe taking pictures of some of the world's best stallions, then head to the horse racing section on CNN.com.
Ahead of the Ramirez Prize, the stud opened its doors to guests and members of the press, both national and international. It was an insight into local breeding practices for some, whilst others were keen for a photo of the main attraction.
Getting to see these horses, certainly Invasor as well, these pedigrees that are different and unique and special. I had a trainer once tell me nothing beats South American bone on a horse, so Invasor is certainly a beautiful product of that.
The people love horse racing. It's an activity that's growing up here, and you see more and more people coming to Uruguay. It's going strong.
The stud is confident that their breeding programs are playing a part in growing the sport's popularity, but they also believe that it's down to the nation's innate love of horses.
Los descendientes del gaucho se van transformando en las personas que trabajan con los caballos, que tienen la paciencia necesaria, los dones necesarios para trabajar con ellos o incluso para desarrollar actividades profesionales. Muchos de ellos se convierten en trainers, en jockeys. Hay mucha pasión con los caballos que tiene su punto más importante el día del Ramírez, pero la gente seguimos con mucho interés todo lo que pasa en el año hípico.
Well, Invasor's getting plenty of media attention ahead of the Ramirez Prize, and that's where we'll be after the break. We'll be at the Moronius Stadium for their big day.
Races take place every weekend all year round at Montevideo's Moronius racetrack, but it draws its biggest crowds on this day, January the 6th, or Three Kings Day. Thousands flocked to the racecourse this year in anticipation of the Gran Premio José Pedro Ramirez.
This Art Deco stadium is absolutely packed today with racing fans, but it hasn't always been like this. In 1997, the Uruguayan Jockey Club went bankrupt and this track was closed. No racing took place for over 5 years.
During its closure, the outbuildings and grandstands were left to rot. Reduced to ruins, it was declared a national monument. But the locals' passion for the sport never wavered. Breeders and trainers were defiant, and despite no sport taking place, they continued to exercise their horses on the empty track. Their prayers were answered when private consortium Maronius Entertainment took over ownership and saw the track transformed, returned to its full splendour.
I've seen the pictures of what it was before it was redeveloped when it was closed, and the transformation is completely remarkable, isn't it?
Yes, this was completely ruined and abandoned, and in 2003 there was a concession awarded by the government, and it was part of our task to recover this building, the whole horse track, and put some life again into this. And today we are really experiencing this big party because of that decision at that time. Uruguay is a country that was built on horseback. We Uruguayans have a love for land, and it's an agricultural country, so most of us have an experience with horses, racing or working with horses at the farm. So we are so intimately related with horses that I think this is a way of keeping that link in the city, where you can see a horse without having to go to the countryside and have that experience with this lovely animal.
There's a carnival feeling at the racetrack and a real emphasis on families as the crowds continue to build in anticipation of a full day's entertainment.
There are a marathon 21 races today, spread across 10 hours of action. The highlight, the Ramirez Prize, was won last year by Fletcher, whose owner is no stranger to success in this country.
He runs in the colours of Harris de Niro. Their biggest claim to fame is that they spotted the potential in Invasor as a foal. They bought him from Argentina to Uruguay, where he made his name winning the Triple Crown.
We went to Argentina, to Buenos Aires, my partner and another friend, to find a horse. And then we visit 7, 8 farms, and we saw 100 horses. We saw with my partner, we saw Invasor, and then it was a flash. My partner said, "I like this horse." We have a lucky day. We work all day very hard with the horses. We have a lot of horses in training, like Invasor, like Fletcher, and then it's not only the lucky.
Fletcher's win in last year's Ramirez meant a lot. He'd been bred in Uruguay and all his connections were Uruguayan. He's no Invasor, but could he keep the owners in the limelight with another big win today?
Fletcher, he won the last Ramirez stake. He won almost 12 races. He's a great horse. He won the Ramirez. I think he can win another, but he's 5 years old.
Jockey Luis Caceres rode Fletcher to victory in 2016 and he's back looking for the double on him. Raised as a gaucho until he was 13, that was how he developed his bond with horses, but it's here in the capital where he most likes to race.
Correr en Maroña es muy tranquilo, es un país muy tranquilo en el tema turf, es muy tranquilo en la cancha, en carrera, nunca tenemos... La verdad que yo me siento muy bien, digo, siempre corrí acá, si bien corrí en otros países, pero la verdad que acá me siento en casa.
So you have won the Ramirez before, what was that like on Fletcher?
Bueno, la verdad que ganar con Fletcher el primer Ramírez para mí fue algo impresionante, fue lo máximo, como te digo, porque es la carrera más importante, es la carrera que todo jockey quiere ganar. Hoy tengo la posibilidad de volver a montar a Fletcher y ser uno de los candidatos. Bueno, estoy esperando con muchas ansias, tranquilo, pero con muchas ansias de que llegue la carrera.
Well, what a way to arrive. The jockeys ahead of the big race, the Ramirez, come on this quite charming transport into the parade ring. They're now going to go and meet connections. We'll be looking out for Pablo Hernandez with Fletcher.
A maximum field of 14 started the 119th running of the Ramirez Prize. Fletcher, though, had an unlucky draw out wide in stall 13 in the pale purple colours and white legs. Gandhi de Job, the Brazilian raider, took the race, giving jockey Frederico Pires his first Ramirez. On this occasion, Fletcher could only manage third, but his owner was happy that he'd once again finished amongst the places.
You have to be happy when you have a horse. He put all of his power. The races are this: you win, you lost.
For Carlos Zaffaroni, owner of the winning horse Gandhi de Job, it had been a day to remember.
The Ramirez is the most important race in Uruguay and one of the most important in South America. So to win the Ramirez is for a few. It's only 120 Ramirez, so only 120 people. So I'm very happy.
Along with its growing crowds, there's been a 45% increase in international betting turnover on this race date since 2014. Proof, if needed, that racing in Uruguay is going from strength to strength.
Well, it's clear from my short time here that this country's passion for horses is unsinkable. The locals never gave up on racing, even in its darkest moments. And look what they've got, a modern and progressive racetrack which produced a global superstar in Invasor. Ramirez Day has been one of a kind, but that's it from South America. Next month we'll be racing on the frozen lake in Samaritz in Switzerland. White turf is one of the most unique horse racing events of the year.